Hi, my name is Amrita, and welcome back to another episode with me where we're going to be talking about something very dear and personal to me. My early days as a photographer wasn't exactly easy, and I think there were lots of life lessons I learned along the way that I'd love to share with you today. So, I'm going to be combining all of those life lessons and walking you through why I think you should be avoiding a few things when you start out, and well, there are certain things you have to master and do it yourself. So, let's get right into it. The first thing that I learned when I started out was to make sure I use my time effectively and not try to do everything on my own. Right from conceptualizing the shoot to putting everything together to finding the location to blocking the location to figuring out things for my client, making sure everything's set in place, setting up all the props required for the shoot, and then dismantling them and then pulling it all apart and finally editing the images on my own. The entire process can really, really take up a lot of time and can also fatigue you. What I essentially realized that was happening is that after doing this for a couple of months, when it actually came to photographing in the session, I was exhausted because of all the pre work that was involved. So, my note to you is simply try not to do everything on your own. Delegate as much as possible and try to seek help in whatever form or format. Ask the parents to help you, ask your friend to come over for the shoot and help you, just set up props, take care of the small little things or the paraphernalia around the shoot, and pay attention to closer things that you don't have the time for, as well as maybe even outsourcing your editing to agencies out there. So these little things that you take away from your plate will help you gather all your energy and concentrate that energy onto your photo shoot, where you can focus on technique, focus on making sure you spend time with your client, engage with them, and essentially bring out the best possible photograph you can do. So I think the second important life lesson I want to share with you is outsource everything you don't like. While you and I have signed up to be artists or photographers, what we also realize is that we become business owners, which means that a lot more falls on our plate, right? From marketing to sales to managing your clients, emails, calls, conceptualizing shoots, then actually going and shooting the actual session, coming back, making sure you work on the edits, and then closing the loop on all of these things. It's a lot of things that fall on our plate, and it becomes very hard for one person to do it all as you scale. So I think the most important or useful advice I've gathered over a period of time is to outsource everything I don't like. So I started to pull out tasks or activities that I didn't enjoy doing or that I didn't have time for and I was struggling to keep up with. So things like accounting, things like editing, because the volume of work started to increase and it became very hard to edit as fast as I needed to deliver the pictures on time. So while pulling out all of these activities, I started to find freelancers or full-time folks who could join me and help me with this workload. But having done this, I think it really changed the entire path for me because I started to get a little more free, which meant that I devoted more time to learning every night, be it on YouTube or any of these platforms that teach you something about photography that could enhance your skill, make you a better artist, and bring you to the forefront of it all by just focusing on the one thing you love doing. Another point I'd like to add while talking about outsourcing is a very important part of my work that I outsourced had really changed the way my photography started to look. I think that it's really amazing that as creative people, we love to do set designs and bring props together on our own. And while we can do it, there's only a certain amount of creativity you can add in there because there's so much more lying on your plate. So I started to outsource all of my set designs and artwork to artists out there who had the time and energy to sort of put their soul into it and bring this artwork to life for me in my photo shoots. One thing that I noticed is one, the artwork looked incredible because it was done by experts. Second, they brought a lot of ideas to the table which I couldn't think of because I was so preoccupied with so many other things. And I have stuck to this model till date, and I can tell you how far the pictures have come across while looking really well done and having me photograph on only the techniques aspect of it. What I finally got to see at the end of this outsourcing task was you'll see a massive difference in these pictures where the set designs are done by you versus when they're done by experts out there. And this changed the game for me. The next thing I want to talk about is a pretty vulnerable thing. As artists, I think we're our worst critics and we're constantly fighting the imposter syndrome. What I essentially want to tell you is that that's a journey that's going to take a while to get past, but it's very important to be cognizant and self aware of what we're capable of, how confident we are in delivering a certain image, and making sure that that is communicated across effectively. A very important lesson I learned along the way was how important it is to have someone out there who looks out for you and also critiques your work and guides you in your journey, which essentially is a mentor. Find yourself a mentor. It could be anyone out there whose work you admire, who's accessible, and who's willing to make time for you as well. I believe that mentors can really take you a long way in terms of accelerating your growth, giving you a lot of perspective, as well as making you self-aware of what you're capable of versus what you need to work on. Now, it's important to take all of the feedback constructively just so you can become better at your craft and really focus on internal growth. Getting your work critiqued time and again can really help you improve as well as see visible changes in your work, and this has taken me a long way personally. One of the things I want to talk to you about is how important it is to set expectations with your clients when they come to you for a photo shoot with their own requests. Now, everyone comes to you with a certain vision in their minds, and while you have your own vision as a photographer, it's important that these visions align. It's really important that both parties also complete the deal together happily. The last thing you want is to have two unhappy parties upset with the pictures that have come out. So, to avoid these situations that I have faced in the past, one thing that I really do is make sure I communicate very clearly and visually with my clients as to what I can do with the ideas they've shared with me, or what I can possibly execute by showing them some of my past work. This sets a certain expectation of what to expect in their work as well, because my work that with them was not going to be too far or too different from what I've done before. Setting these expectations really help you avoid any sort of burn or misunderstandings, and more importantly, I think it leaves your client happy knowing that they got what you showed them and will come back to you in the future. In the beginning, the way a client would book a shoot with me was simply to pick up the phone and call me, tell me the requirements, and then we'd agree on a date and then proceed to shoot. I missed a very important step here in the early days, which was protecting myself with contracts. A contract is simply an agreement where you essentially spell out exactly what you're going to be delivering, how much time you're going to be devoting to the shoot, and what your style and methods of working are. Now, this is a very important document because it actually protects you from a lot of unexpected scenarios that could occur in terms of weather, in terms of copyrights of images, or even in terms of the time you give them at a shoot, how long you're going to work for to deliver those images. Essentially, a contract started to define what my work would look like with every single client, and it became a lot smoother and a lot easier for me to execute all of these assignments that I was given in a very peaceful manner. While I specialize in maternity and child photography, the one thing I consistently did was to continuously learn across all genres of photography by watching videos, researching, understanding how the great minds of great photographers work across all of the genres such as fashion, weddings, photojournalism even. This ended up in me learning a lot of interesting tips and tricks across all of these genres, which sat in my subconscious but came to life when I started shooting with mothers and children. And this have seen very clearly and visually impact my work and quality of work over a period of time. This is not something you're going to see overnight as a result, but it will impact your work as you grow as a photographer, and you'll notice the changes therein. The last point I want to leave with you today is to talk about something very important for us as artists. It's very, very important for us to understand the value we bring to the table and what we're capable of creating. This implies that you need to stand up for yourself as an artist and be very confident about the pricing you project, the kind of work you project, and communicate that very effectively. I hope you like this video because this was me just trying to help you with all of the life lessons I've learned along the way, and I hope you don't make the same mistakes I did. Here's wishing you great luck. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.